thank the representative of Denmark for her statement, and I give the floor to the representative of Pakistan.
Thank you, Madam President. We thank Under-Secretary General Rosemary DiCarlo and Ambassador Stavros Lambrinidis for their briefings. I would also like to thank Ambassador Samuel Subogar for presenting the report in his capacity as the facilitator of the 2231 format. Madam President, the core common element of these three briefings that we just heard in this meeting was the primacy of a peaceful diplomatic solution. We are meeting at a crucial point in the implementation of Resolution 2231 and Security Council's consideration of Iran's nuclear issue. Obviously, the developments of the past 2 weeks have impacted the context of the whole issue and have a bearing on our discussions today. However, what has not changed are the fundamental principles and multilateral spirit behind the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action and the Resolution 2231 adopted 10 years ago. The JCPOA was a unique instrument, manifestation of an approach based on dialogue, diplomacy, and pragmatism. It was the outcome of painstaking and arduous, yet constructive negotiations. It charted a roadmap to comprehensively address the concerns of the parties concerned by clearly defining their relevant obligations and responsibilities. While proceeding very well, the agreement was regrettably disrupted, leaving many complications in its wake that impacted the full and faithful implementation of the JCPOA by various parties. Notwithstanding those challenges, the most widely held view was that dialogue, diplomacy, and constructive engagement was the only viable way forward. That view was still there and was indeed back in play with the negotiations between Iran and the United States facilitated by Oman, till it was violently disrupted by the unlawful and illegal military attacks on the IAEA safeguarded Iranian nuclear facilities. These military strikes also impeded the IAEA's crucial verification functions in Iran. Pakistan has expressed its clear position on these developments in this chamber and elsewhere over the past 2 weeks. Our leadership has also remained actively engaged with counterparts from many other countries during this period. Madam President, what we have witnessed should never have happened. Even now, it is our firm belief that these actions should not be allowed to further complicate the peaceful resolution of long-standing issues, as well as the full and effective implementation of Resolution 2231. We reaffirm our support for the resolution of the Iranian nuclear issue through peaceful means, diplomatic engagement, and sustained dialogue. Pakistan advocates the preservation and renewal of the JCPOA or its substitution by an equally sound agreement that is acceptable to all sides before it expires in October this year. The IAEA is the institution responsible for verifying compliance with the respective nuclear safeguards obligations of member states. It is mandated to do so in an objective, impartial, and credible manner, purely on technical grounds. The IAEA must be enabled to fulfill this statutory function. We believe that verification activities by the IAEA should continue unimpeded. The IAEA must continue its work in an impartial and apolitical manner to provide objective reporting and credible information regarding the issues under its purview. Madam President, with regards to recent developments in the region, I would like to emphasize the following points. First, condemnation of violation of the sovereignty and territorial integrity of member states, and the threat or use of force to settle disputes. Second, clear rejection of attacks on IAEA safeguarded nuclear facilities, which violate Security Council and IAEA resolutions as well as international humanitarian law. Third, we request the Secretary General to report on the implications of these developments on the implementation of Resolution 2231, particularly those arising from military strikes against nuclear facilities. And we also request the Director General IAEA to share his assessment from legal, technical, safety, security, and safeguards points of view. Fourth, we urge sustained cessation of hostilities and a permanent ceasefire to allow resumption of dialogue and verification activities by the IAEA. Fifth, there is an urgent need to renew diplomatic engagement to seriously and faithfully address the outstanding issues in a cooperative manner as per the rights, obligations, and responsibilities of the parties concerned. Madam President, we welcome the announcement of the ceasefire understanding between Iran and Israel, and we expect this to be fully respected. We commend all those who played a pivotal role in facilitating this development and hope this positive step will contribute to lasting peace and stability in the region. This is a vital step that must now be followed up by constructive and comprehensive engagement. Pakistan firmly believes that all disputes must be resolved in accordance with the principles of the UN Charter and international law, including respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity. We call on all parties to fulfill their respective obligations and responsibilities and avoid any further escalation. Most importantly, the trust and confidence in the diplomatic engagement that was damaged by the unprovoked aggression must be meticulously restored. The Council should allow sufficient time to continuing efforts between the IAEA and Iran, as well as other parties, to resolve outstanding issues. Recent developments have yet again manifested the grave dangers that present themselves when there are violations of the UN Charter and international law. The cost of seeking to resolve issues through military means is more than evident. The region, and indeed the whole world, cannot be held hostage to such adventures, dangerous precedents, and spiraling escalations. Diplomatic engagement and the resumption of dialogue are the best means to resolve all outstanding issues. Diplomacy has delivered previously, and with the necessary political will, it can certainly deliver again. Lastly, allow me to inform the Council that following up on the draft resolution circulated by China, Pakistan, and Russia on Sunday, we have updated and revised the text to reflect the latest developments, including the ceasefire, and have circulated it to Council members. Securing the ceasefire was one of the primary objectives of the draft resolution, in addition to calling for a negotiated settlement of the Iranian nuclear issue and promoting respect for international law under all circumstances. We will engage constructively with fellow members on the text of this draft resolution with a view to arriving at a consensus outcome, signifying the Council's support for sustained ceasefire and sustained dialogue and diplomatic engagement for a lasting solution. I thank you.
I thank the representative of Pakistan for his statement, and I give the floor to the representative